once again to my channel. My name is Luis Portelles, and for today's video, we are going to be talking about Miss Earth 2022, but more precisely about my list of best in national costume. That's right, because if you were here just yesterday, you will know that I made an entire live reaction to all of the almost 80 candidates at Miss Earth 2022, and more precisely to their videos of their national costumes. However, this time around, today, I have selected 20 candidates who really stood out in my opinion, and I'm gonna be telling you guys why I think that they deserve this spot within my list. As usual, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, or follow my page on Facebook, depending where you're watching this. And of course, be part of the conversation always. So use the live chat or the comment section to express yourself, baby. All right, you know the drill. I'm really excited for this one because yesterday, just watching everyone, I just thought that the creativity and the effort that every single one of the delegates put into their national costumes was out of this world. But today, I'm excited to give a little bit more of, a spotlight, visibility to the girls that really stood out, according to myself and my own criteria. I mean, talking about reliable sources. So, you already know. I hope that you guys agree, but if you don't, that's fine. We all are allowed to have different opinions. And without further ado, here we go. This is my top 20 in alphabetical order. All right, so let's start the list here with Miss Belgium. I think that I talked about her yesterday. I thought that this national costume idea with the flower was really beautiful and so effective. For me, this reminded me of a rose and just how delicate. Even like the cape that she has is adding a little bit of flow, almost like the rose is flowing in the wind. So this was a beautiful interpretation of that, and therefore she deserved that spot according to myself. Um, Moving on my list at number 19, or actually number two, I guess, because this is alphabetical order, okay? There's no like 1 to 20, it's just alphabetical. We have Miss Belarus. You know, for those of you who watched the live yesterday, you know that I have some mixed feelings for some of the girls from Europe, especially their national costumes. However, I think that Belarus is one of the girls from Europe that I really appreciated. Why? Because not only she gave us a national costume that, yes, is reminiscent of something traditional in her country, but she elevated it. I mean, she definitely added other elements to really take her idea, take her message to the next level, and just give it a whole other layer of visibility, of just, interpretation. I like it when the girls do their homework and they take it above and beyond. They give us more of the entertainment factor. So I really like this one by Miss Belarus. Moving on, we have Miss Canada. My heart is happy. My heart is really happy this year because Canada is giving us such a great performance so far in every single one of the competitions. This one for national costume was no exception. I'm seeing her here posing in front of a waterfall. We know that here in Canada we have quite a few of those, and of course, being the second largest um, country in the world, we also have a lot of nature and forests and different type of geographies overall. So I think that this interpretation of Miss Canada here with the water is a beautiful one, and I think that you can find water in many forms here in Canada. Of course, we are known for our cold winter, so we have lots of ice. We have, I mean, you can see at waterfalls in the summer and the spring and all of that. So, one thing that I did mention, not just for Miss Canada, but for all of the delegates overall, it would have been nice if we had some sort of like information, maybe a voiceover, their videos explaining, the message behind their national costumes, or perhaps alongside the photos, just a small text explaining the message behind all of it. But I think that in this case, Jessica's national costume is effective enough for me to understand what she's trying to talk about. And of course, the reference in the background is pretty clear. So this was a home run for Miss Canada. Moving on, we have Cameroon representing for the girls from Africa. Beautiful national costume. and standout hairpiece. This looks incredible. I mean, I just, first of all, I really appreciate the vibrant colors here, and the fact that Miss Cameron didn't have to go really, you know, out of the box in terms of the proportions and the accessories and stuff when it comes to the actual garment that she's wearing as a national costume. I feel like most of the attention was really in the hair, and just making it really intricate, giving it a structure, and for me that's really where the focus point of the national costume is. So I think that it doesn't really matter, if you put this one in a room with a lot of different national costumes, this one will always be a standout just because of how creative it is, and how saturated the colors are as well. Moving on. Oh my God. Y'all, let me tell you something. I am so happy. I am so proud of my girl, Shayla. Cuba this year is giving everything that I expected. Everything. My heart is so happy. And I've been praying for this for a long time because since last year, actually, I thought that the girl who was representing Cuba at Miss Earth was really, really strong. And unfortunately, she did not get the placement that I was hoping for. However, Shayla this year, I see her as a front runner. And for a lot of people, I will even tell you she might be a dark horse. At least that's how we call it within the pageant community, where some of the girls, you guys might be sleeping on them, but believe me, this girl is going to slay the competition. I'm not saying that because I'm biased, because I'm Cuban, but because I see how hard she has been working. I know how smart she is. I had the opportunity to interview her. I have seen some of the behind the scenes video of her pasarela walk. So I'm really, really excited. And now all I can tell you guys is be ready for the unexpected. Yes, Shayla, this was a beautiful interpretation of our national flower in Cuba. It's called La Mariposa, and is a flower that is very typical of our country. It was symbolic during um, the wars of independence in Cuba back in the day, and this is something that women would wear behind their ears and hide messages that they wanted to get across the enemy. Like the segments of land that the enemy had occupied. The women will take the flowers, put them behind the ears, and move with them, bring with them messages that they wanted to bring to different sides of the country. So I think that this is a beautiful interpretation of that. And once again, I'm so happy and so proud. Ah, moving on, we have Charlotte. Let me drink some water. Your boy is thirsty. Talking about Miss Earth, this is one of the elements, right? So we have Miss Colombia, Andrea. I've said this before, I'll say it again. For many people, Andrea is considered to be the obvious winner of the competition, at least in some of the predictions that I have been seeing so far. People are ranking her really, really high. If it's not within the top three, it is as the top one for the crown. I think that personally, she is very, very strong. I can see her doing really well in the competition. I am not so sure yet if I will rank her at number one, but stay tuned because in the next few days I will be putting out um my final, not my final predictions, but my first leaderboard, I guess, for Miss Earth. Here in this particular national costume, Andrea is giving us a very creative and very intricate version of a skirt, and with a typical Colombian traditional outfit, I would call this. I really like how you can see all of the colors, of course, of the flag, first of all, which is such an important symbol for Colombians. We can see also some of the natural elements that you can find specifically in the country. For example, you can see some of the flowers, some of the plants. You can see the coffee as well. I mean, Colombian coffee is known all over the world. And I don't know exactly how to call this bird, but I'm going to call it a parrot. Please excuse me if I am wrong. Correct me, educate me in the comment section. I do not take it badly, but this is what I'm seeing here. I think that overall, this is, when I think of this national costume, it's a reference that I have seen before, yes, but she did she did not go for an obvious just traditional reference. She went ahead and she elevated it and added elements and colors and different symbols to it. So I really, really like it. Now, moving on to number 7, we have Dominican Republic. This was a very interesting national costume that I was not expecting at all. For those of you who watched the video, the live presentation that they had at on the Miss Earth channel and Facebook page, they started by showing her national costume with a really close shots, so you could see her face, you could see some of the parts of the national costume, but it wasn't until the end or almost the end of the video that we got to see the entire thing. And this is when I realized that this is what we call in Latin America, or at least in Cuba, un muñecón. Muñecones is are like huge figures that we have in our carnivals. So it's just kind of a cultural reference. I think that if you're watching from the Philippines, you guys have something similar, which is called the Festival of Gigantes. So that will be the equivalent that we have in Cuba. But of course, here, this is the Dominican Republic reference. I have never seen any national costumes like this. The closest thing that comes to mind perhaps will be Helene Budol this year at Binibining Pilipinas. Her national costume was a reference to the Gigantes Festival in the Philippines. Well, this will be our equivalent in Dominican Republic. Moving on, mm-mm-mm. Czech Republic, another one of the girls from the group of Europe that I am very happy with. So, although I was complaining a lot yesterday, I'm still giving my flowers to the girls of Europe, quite literally, because here she is carrying a bouquet of flowers, which blends very, very well with the gown that she is actually wearing herself. I think that it's really for me the selection of colors and how they integrated the flowers within the dress, as well as they made sure that it all comes together with the flowers that she is holding herself, that really sold the entire story for me. This doesn't feel like it's something that she grabbed off the rack. It feels like it's truly they had a concept. They came up with a way to build this for her. There is craftsmanship. And of course, she also looks incredible. What else do you want? We get the aesthetics, we get the message, and we get the beauty. So we should be happy about this one. Moving on, we have Ecuador. Representing for Latinas, for las Latinas. Ecuador, I mean, what I will say is, first of all, the video, her presentation was perhaps one of the most cinematographic ones, this entire batch. I love, love, love the blend of different colors here when it comes to, especially the headpiece. And also, I love the attention to details when it comes to the cape that she is wearing. You can see that the back of it, I mean the part that goes inside is all red, but if you look on the other side of it, you can see that there is kind of a drawing. So there's really a lot of effort into this national costume. The only thing for me is, as I said before, for some other national costume, is that I wish there was some sort of message alongside this, or like explanation, just so that I could understand better the references. But overall, aesthetically speaking, this is remarkable. So props to Miss Ecuador and her entire team, of course. Moving on, we have Indonesia. Indonesia, I think I mentioned this during my live stream yesterday. In terms of, drama and theatrics and just being committed to the performance of actually selling the fantasy, not only for her national costume, but as well for her fauna outfit, she is really, on another level. Whether it was for the Komodo dragon outfit that she had before, or this one right here, I think that you can see that it's not just about the costume, it's about the location, it's about even the editing of the photo and like the color correction that they did for it, the facial expressions, the body. You can see, like, this is a still photo, of course, but just like the way that she is positioned, you can feel that there is movement within this photo. And I really, really appreciate those things, because once again, for me personally, as a fan of pageants, I like to be entertained as well, and I don't just want to go for the obvious reference or for the traditional route all the time. I want you to take those things and elevate them, and for me, this is the perfect example of that. Indonesia, Karina, you are doing incredible, honey. Keep it up. Oh, oh my God. What can I say? Korea. Okay, so Korea, I must I must admit that perhaps it might be a little bit um, you know, opposite to everything that I have been telling you so far. I've been saying I don't like to go too much the traditional route. I don't like to go too much, with something that is very, very obvious. Because when you look at Korea's national costume, it's very, very simple. It's a white dress with a traditional Korean silhouette, and it has some golden accents as well. Now, what is truly, truly mind blowing for me when it comes to this national costume is the attention to detail. When you really take the moment to look at it, and when we have access, of course, to the close shots of the national costumes, that's when you really get to appreciate it. I think that this photo in particular, of course, just showed us how beautiful she is, how, minimalistic even her makeup is, her hairstyle, and that all of the effort is really put into the national costume, the earrings, the what she has on her hair as well. But if you guys watch the video, that's what you get the full picture of how majestic this was. For me, this is the perfect example that you don't always have to go, you know, the extra mile, or be, I mean, like, not the extra mile, but be like super extra in order to grab someone's attention. You can also do that with, something very subtle but still very, very elaborate. So that was amazing, Korea. I'm a fan. Oh yes, and Japan. I mean, this is a very interesting contrast, in my opinion. When you think of Miss Korea, and now we're talking about Miss Japan. Miss Korea went completely the traditional route. Miss Japan, on the other hand, which, by the way, Japan is considered to be a very, very traditional country, went like it's like day and night, completely opposite, in the sense that Japan, I think, is one of the most artistic girls in this batch so far. I had the same impression during the fauna outfit competition, and this time around with the national costume, it is no exception. Everything about her is like so dramatic. We get this like black gown with like golden accents, and this headpiece that makes her look like a goddess or like a virgin. There's just so many different things that you can look when it comes to this photo. And of course, I beg you guys, please go ahead and watch the entire show as well, because that's when you get to watch the videos and appreciate the national costume from different angles. This was just mesmerizing. Even the choice of location is very interesting, because you can see that in the background you have a very modern building, but to the side you have this structure that seems to be like a castle of like, yeah, like almost a castle, like from the I will say like the medieval era. And yeah, it just adds like this sort of like mystic vibe to it. I don't know, it's intriguing, I like it, and Japan has never disappointed me so far. Moving on, we have Miss Peru representing here for the Latinas. Once again, I feel like Gianella had a very interesting national costume. First of all, because I didn't see many, many girls including metallic elements within their national costumes. A lot of them just go for perhaps like natural references, which is very on brand for Miss Earth, or a lot of them just go for traditional clothes that they will wear in their home countries. I feel like this one for Peru is none of those. This is not necessarily like a traditional Peruvian um, outfit. I mean, at least that I have seen personally. And it's definitely not like a natural reference. So for me, this is more of a cultural thing, perhaps like a carnival, perhaps like some sort of fiesta, or you know what I'm saying, like showgirl type of moment. And I thought that the silver accents in her national costumes were really stand out, and um, were very effective at catching my attention. So, Peru, very nice work. Moving on, we have Mexico. Mexico always gives me a lot of intensity in terms of the colors, in terms of the different elements that they also include within their national costumes. And this one is it's a clear example of that. You can just see with the combination here that they have with the feathers, with the black feathers, red feathers, orange feathers, yellow feathers. It really gives me the impression that she is on fire. I am not sure what the national costume stands for, but for those who watched my live stream yesterday, I was talking about this like this creature that is part of Mexican culture, which is a feathered dragon. So when I saw this initially, this is the first image that came to mind. I don't know if anyone has a different interpretation of it. If you do, please, by all means, let me know. But for me, this is what it represents, and it is extremely, extremely beautiful. So moving on, we have the Philippines, Miss Jenny Ramp. I feel like, okay, yesterday when I did the live, so many people showed up for Jenny. Even Jenny herself was here initially during the live stream. So I must say, I really, really love Jenny's national costume because, first of all, let's just talk about the aesthetics of it. I think that the combination of colors, it's so, so, so eye-catching. And I think that she is representing something that you didn't necessarily require, like such a vivid color palette, but the fact that she went for it just adds uh, a layer of interest for me. I also really like how I would say, what is the precise word for this? Um, Versatile. That is the word. I also really love how versatile her national costume is. I don't know if you guys saw the photos that were posted, the studio photos, of course, of Jenny wearing the national costume. For once of them, she was standing up. Other ones, she was just laying on the floor like she's doing right here. And I feel like it doesn't really matter from which angle you're looking at her national costume. Jenny is selling the entire fantasy. Another thing that I did mention about her is that I appreciate the consistency that she has when it comes to her advocacy and what she wants to do with this platform. I have been hearing Jenny talking about, farmers and working in the fields, not just during the interview that we had together, but also during the previous competition as well, and this time around with the national costume. This is also not the first photo shoot that she has themed after farm work and the farmers overall. So I think that she has a clear vision of what she wants to accomplish. So nothing but respect for that, of course. Moving on, we have Portugal, who is giving us here a royal fantasy. I must say, um, initially when I was watching the live stream, I think that Portugal from the batch of girls of Europe is the one who stood out the most for me initially. Then after that, I went ahead and watched the show again because I was coming up with these picks for this particular video, and that's when I added the other girls from Europe. But initially, Portugal was the one who stood out for me. I thought that going, for example, for this idea of royals, it's something that is very, of course, close to the history of Portugal, but simultaneously it's not like the most obvious preference, and I think that in all cases, this is not something that you can go to Portugal and see someone wearing like everyday life. This is really a costume, and for me, that's what really sold it. I don't feel like I can see this easily anywhere. So the fact that I had to go to the Miss Earth national costume competition to witness it, it really, really, it's really like a positive thing in my mind. I don't know about you, but I really like this one. Look at the very vivid red, very saturated red, like love, like passion. So regal. Thailand is the next one on the list. And I must say, Thailand had perhaps one of the most creative national costumes, in my opinion. I think that, of course, but when you look at the details, right, when it comes to this, there's just so much. I wonder how many hours went into the creation of this national costume. I have the same feeling for a lot of things that come from Thailand. They just love their craftsmanship and they just love going above and beyond in terms of artistry and creativity. For me, a selling point when it comes to this national costume was also the performance and just the delivery. Because if you watch the video, you know that she also had on the back part of the national costume, there is a segment that she is able to open. And within that part, she actually had food, or I don't know if it's necessarily like a dessert or, a traditional dish. I don't know. So please next year give us a little bit of text or voiceover to explain to the audience. But what I'm trying to say is that it was so interesting because it was unexpected. And remember, up until this point, I've been saying consistently, I want to be entertained. Pageants, yes, it's about purpose, it's about beauty, it's about advocacy, but it's also entertainment. And I think that Miss Thailand gave us precisely all of those elements. So that was a home run for me. Moving on to number 18, we have Brielle Simmons representing USA. Brielle, so happy for her. Honestly, I think that Brielle is doing so well this year. And I know that going to Miss Earth, there was a lot of pressure for her because precisely the USA has been doing so well at Miss Earth recently. I mean, Lindsay Coffey was crowned Miss Earth in 2020. Then we have Maritza Butler last year, who was actually within the Elemental Queens as well. But I think that Brielle has managed to really give us different sides of her advocacy. If you guys remember, initially during the Fauna Outfit competition, she gave us a beautiful dress inspired by the butterflies. So I mean, it felt like honestly like it was a fashion piece rather than an outfit. And this time around here for the national costume, I really feel like this is a costume. She is really taking the idea of the eagle, the American eagle, and embodying it, while also looking fabulous. Look at her face. Her face card never declines. Brielle, baby, I'm so happy for you. Please give us more. I want more. Moving on, Venezuela looking incredible here with this cheetah national costume. And I'm gonna be honest, like what I like the most about Miss Venezuela's national costume is just the consistency in her message, similar to the example that I gave you earlier for Miss Philippines, for Jenny. Oriana, if you guys remember during the fauna competition, actually had an outfit that was mostly body painted. So the fact that here she has a similar interpretation of that, but taking it to the next level by adding accessories and really carrying quite literally a cheetah on her back, it's just very, very beautiful. I also really love the performance that she gave us during the video that she made for the national costume presentation. So, of course, Venezuela is a powerhouse, and this time around at Miss Earth, they are living to my expectations. At least I don't know about yours, but I'm happy with Venezuela. And last but not least on my list, we have Miss Zimbabwe. Come on, Africa, representing. You know what I really like about this national costume that Miss Sakila is giving us is that for me, it represents both the perfect balance of traditional and editorial, elevated. I love the fact that we can see some of the traditional elements. For example, this mask that she is holding on her hand. I would assume that this is a mask, but this might as well just be like a shield to protect herself. She is a goddess or a queen warrior. I mean, it's giving me all of those different elements as well. What I like also is that this national costume, although it might come across as being a little bit traditional, it doesn't swallow her. We still can appreciate her beautiful face. Look at those cheekbones. I am so jealous. Look at the waistline. Look at the definition on the legs. So overall, I think that this was, very, very efficient. I love the natural hair and I love the headpiece, which just makes me feel like this is, she is part of royalty. She is holding her crown. So I am in awe of this one. So I guess that was it. Those were my top 20 national costumes when it comes to the Miss Earth 2022 National Costume Competition. Please let me know in the comment section if you agree with my list. And if you do, let me know who are your faves. And if you don't, let me know who would you add on the list. So there are no right or wrong answers. Everyone did their best during the competition. So I want to thank you all guys for joining me today, for staying until the end. Most importantly, don't forget, if you want to support my videos, please subscribe to the channel, follow my page on Facebook, follow me on Instagram as well. What else? Leave a comment and just interact with my comment. Interaction is key for growth. So thank you guys, and I will see you on the next one. Mwah.